Okay, what means more, the win, punching us out in the playoffs, or the fact that you guys were able to kind of gut it out toward the end?
Mm. I mean, it's all good, right? Like, good for us. Um, it's a hard games to win. It's our 7th game in about 14 days. We've got 8 games in 15 days, so I thought we looked tired, disinterested at times. So just gonna try to recruit some energy, try to put a better game in Atlanta together. But the other side has our entire playbook. We knew we were going to be very well scouted, and it was going to be a grind. So just my message was to them: we got to be able to still improve while we're winning. That's really important. It's easy to improve when you're losing. All right, like everybody's pissed. But you got to have that same edge and mental approach to your success. You got to handle your success well. And I'm asking a lot of them physically right now during this stretch, but you know, I thought down in the fourth quarter, like we ended up getting some stops when we needed to get stops.
What's impressed you most about your team over the course of this 11-game streak?
Well, they've been resilient, right? Like we give up the lead there, or they come back and I think tie it. Tied? No, they went up by 2, I think. And still have that calm, just go down and execute. And then we know we got to get stops and start stacking stops on the other end. So yeah, just resiliency. It's been a really tough stretch. We didn't get a good whistle tonight. The other team's post players both shoot more than almost our whole team. And definitely shoot more than Asia. And 23 to 10 on the free throw line. So we got beat up. We're getting beat up. And you got to maintain, you have to play through it. And we got another big one in a day.
I'm sorry. When it comes to the schedule, there's been a lot of talk all season about the schedule. From players, they've advocated for roster expansion. I think the coach's perspective is important on this one. What's the need for roster expansion from the coach's perspective?
I'm hugely in favor of a roster expansion. One, there's a lot of talent out there that's not playing. But 2, just the load on everybody. You can't add games and not add some way to kind of manage that load, because it just becomes it becomes a trickle down effect. It becomes more on everybody. I'm sure that's something they're going to discuss in the CBA. They'll figure it out. But it is what it is right now. It's the same for everybody. I've always thought you should almost have like a bucket, call it a bucket. We used to call it player reserve back in the day. And, you have people so that you're not just pulling people in on a 7-day. You have people that have been practicing, and you could just pull them and make them active so that you don't miss a beat offensively or defensively. You have somebody that's been in your system. They know what you're doing, instead of just putting some random, woman out there that you just hasn't run any of your stuff, is not familiar. That's a really tough situation on that player and for the teams. And I think at the end of the day, you got to do whatever, you got to protect your product, whatever that looks like. Protect your product and the health of your product.
Becky, how would you, if you were having to make a case for Asia for another MVP, what would you say right now, especially given the stretch that she's on?
I mean, where's your list?
This is here.
No, you text it to me, so it's on your phone.
I have seen.
I mean, she's number 1 in total points, number 1 in total rebounds. No, I mean, she's top in every category possible. And it's a little irritating that with the narrative, you got to come into this open-minded every season if you're a voter. And I think there was an early narrative and an early handout. And I felt like, a little bit in 2023, Asia had a hugely dominant year that year. First in efficiency. To me, the best teller is always efficiency. How efficient are what you're doing? Because there's people in this league that, they're phenomenal scorers, but they don't do it. They're volume shooters. how efficient she is. She wasn't that efficient tonight, but mostly, you know, she's just incredibly efficient on both ends of the floor. First in win shares, first in, you know, player efficiency, player, she's everywhere. And it just, there can't be a narrative going into the season. And then now, okay, now Asia's having a ridiculous season again, you know, 30 points, 20 boards, 30 points, 10 boards, like just night after night after night. And then everyone's kind of like, oh, now what? Now we're talking, you know? And I just, there's not a more dominant player. If you had to pick one right now, you could pick anybody in the league and you got one game to win. Who are you taking? That answers your question. Or if you start with it, the question, who's as good as Asia Wilson? That's the point.
Does she surprise you still with what she can do since you've been working together for so long?
Yeah, I mean, she'll do something almost every game where it's like, ooh, that was nasty, you know, where it's just so demonstrative. You know, some of her blocks are so physically dominant. That I equivalent it to like a posterized dunk in the men's game. Like it just gets people on their feet, how demonstrative some of her blocks are. She can guard 1 through 5. I mean, she's going to be the greatest player to ever play this game when it's all said and done. And don't miss it. She's here. She's in her prime and she's killing it. Period. I think that's her tagline anyways, period.
When you think to the back end of the game, you need a bucket to either go ahead and close it out. Asia is there. I mean, you just mentioned yourself, 7 game in 14 days. It's a tiring stretch and she's still there to help close out the game. What did that say about the clutch factor that she also would?
I mean, the bigger the moment, the bigger she gets. She doesn't miss out on moments. That's why she has the trophy closet that she has, college, 2 in the pros. Like I said, I think, you know, like I'll say in the NBA, like I thought Jokic should have won it one more time. Like, don't get tired of the greatness. Jokic is going to go down as probably a top 3 player ever, the way he impacts a game. You know, with the passing and the rebounding and the scoring, like he just is so dominant in every kind of which way. And then, like I said, has a similar dominant just stat line. I mean, she just impacts every area of the game. You know, first in total points, first in total rebounds, first in total blocks, steals. Like she's everywhere. She's everywhere. That's dominant. That is dominant every night. And every night, every defense plays her with 2 or 3 people, by the way. They just zone it up and make somebody else beat. And sometimes, you know, we have that other person step up. Sometimes we don't. But she drops 30 going against 2 or 3 people routinely. Every defense in this league is designed to stop her.
Sorry, one more quick one just about Candace, your short time with her. She did a lot of juggling. She obviously was injured too, but what stood out to you about the way she juggled like her career off the court as a businesswoman and,
Oh man.
just the flying all over for her broadcast, like
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody's crushed it more than her. You know, she became, you know, the Good Old Boy Network is hard to crack sometimes. And she cracked it on that TNT crew. You know, she's part of that group. And I think that just speaks to her relatability. It speaks to her knowledge of the game. It speaks to her work ethic, her professionalism. Because at the end of the day, I mean, those are long trips from LA. I know she's going to Atlanta constantly, you know, doing those gigs. But she's just built a heck of a portfolio out for herself, you know. But her mind is always forward thinking. I think that's one thing that I really enjoyed coaching about her is just how her mind works. Right. So I'm not surprised she's dissecting business like she dissected a basketball court.
All right, I am seeing no hands up from Zoom. Thank you,
Yep.
Becky. Players will be in here shortly.